What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, through a series of press conferences and direct quotes from this year, Marvel Studios has said that they're changing the way they're doing things in order to give us a better, higher quality finished product. However, in that last press conference, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige doubled down on their movie by committee approach, where he called it plussing films, not satisfied with scripts going into the starting of filming and just basically figuring it out while they're on set. Well, that's sort of what led them to the mess that we've been in for the last couple of years, and if this latest report is to be believed, and it's coming from one of the most trusted sources in the game, well, it's not great, and it's more of the same on the set of Avengers Doomsday, which apparently, and according to this report, has led to massive reshoots already. We're going to go over and break down exactly what industry insider Jeff Sneider said about the dysfunction on the set of Avengers Doomsday, what it has to do with Robert Downey Jr., and more importantly, these reshoots. And what's crazy is because Robert Downey Jr. has so much history with Marvel Studios, and we know a lot of the particulars about how he does and doesn't like to do things, some of this is ultra believable. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button, thanks to everyone who's been subbing lately and helped grow the channel, and if you haven't already, I would just kindly invite you to do so. It's the number one thing you can do to support us, plus it'll enter you for the giveaways if you want. Stick around to the end of the video, we get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so these are the words of industry insider Jeff Sneider. You guys can follow him on his own editorial at The In Sneider, but he's also been extremely active on the Hot Mic podcast the last 2 years, dropping huge Marvel scoops, including breaking Robert Downey Jr. playing Dr. Doom 2 months before that confirmation, as well as the Hulk and Spider-Man and a ton of others. So take that as you will. This is what he's saying about the current shoots of Avengers Doomsday, quote, "I've heard that even though they paid Robert Downey Jr. 50 or 60 million per movie, Disney's had to reshoot for 3 weeks. They reshot 3 weeks worth of material because apparently, this is just what I heard, they had an actor standing in for Robert Downey Jr. in the Dr. Doom suit. They had a body double and they had a face double, and Downey stood off camera reading the lines. Okay, and apparently after 2 or 3 weeks, he was like, this isn't working, I want to reshoot everything with me in the suit." He continues by saying, "The dysfunction I've heard on the Doomsday set is rivaled only by that of the Fast and Furious movies. I mean, we've alluded to an incident behind the scenes earlier this year that I did not want to go into details on, and it was probably more, someone made it sound more dramatic to me than it really was. But yeah, I think there's just a lot of testosterone and a lot of ego on that set, and a lot of people who think they know what way is the best way, and in the end, there's only one person's way who matters, and that's actually Robert Downey Jr.'s way." Alright, I have so much to say about this and so much context to add, but let's start at the beginning of the scoop, where they said they basically reshot 3 weeks worth of material because Robert Downey Jr. was standing off set and letting someone be a body double and face double in the suit. This does not dovetail at all with what we heard from Matt Shakman and Vanessa Kirby, that it was actually Robert Downey Jr. in the Dr. Doom suit for the Fantastic Four post-credit scene, which we know, like the Thunderbolt scene, was shot and directed by the Russos. If he was actually in the suit for that scene, it would seem like he's been wearing the suit, but not so fast. Robert Downey Jr. famously was the first guy to step up and say, I am not wearing any more Iron Man practical effects costumes. Now, to be fair, and basically all the way up to Civil War, when he was still wearing parts of the suit or the full suit, those things were made out of fiberglass, super rigid, and even with the rubber components to make them quote-unquote more comfortable, they were hot, they were heavy, they are really hard to move in. And so when they got to Civil War, and Robert Downey Jr. saw them redouble everybody for the fight scenes, even though they had already shot stuff in person, he said, that's it, if you're just going to redouble me for fight scenes, you can redouble that suit every time. And he only wore mocap after that, and that's why we moved directly into nanotech for Infinity War. He's never wearing any of that. Now, why is this important? Well, it's believable. If he didn't want to wear any of the Iron Man armor by the end of playing that character, he would have taken that same approach into Dr. Doom and probably said, screw it, I'm not wearing any of that armor either, I'll let a stand-in do all those shots. But that could have led to a huge disconnect for the action and the connection in the scenes where it's not actually Robert Downey Jr., he's just reading lines. Again, this isn't him in mocap, this is him off screen letting someone actually do the body double action work. And because we know what we know about Robert Downey Jr. and his method to acting, yeah, I'm sure that didn't work for him at all. But this is basically where you get into the second part of this. Marvel Studios likes to do movie by committee. Usually at the top of that chain, at the very top of that pyramid, is Kevin Feige, then the directors, and it works its way down. However, that's not how Avengers Doomsday is. Robert Downey Jr. is actually at the very top of that pyramid. He came in with the demands that it's got to be the Russos and $150 million and his own trailer encampment village and the rest of it. He started calling the shots from day one. So while there has been a hierarchy in sort of how they do the hierarchy of Marvel Studios behind the scenes is about to change, except this time it really is. And you're not going to hear Robert Downey Jr. say that. He's just going to move in like a boss and take it like he did. And now you've got your lead actor saying, you know what? Sorry guys, 3 weeks worth of shooting. We got to do all of this all over again. I cannot imagine what some of those conversations are like and the stress that's building between the tensions of the director and Kevin Feige and Robert Downey Jr. Because like he says in the scoop, they all know best. But here's the truth, okay? This is the same mix of people who got Avengers Endgame and got Infinity War and nailed it. So if there was anybody to step up and do this, it would be this group of people. And while there may be some growing pains, it's been a while since they worked together, and yes, obviously things have changed a lot, but here's the truth, okay? At the end of the day, during any collaborative art process, if you poked your head in the room at the wrong moment and that was the only glimpse you got of what was going on, you could easily walk away and say it was a mess. Things get stressful when you care about the art that you're making and you have this many people involved. Like, can you imagine what the budget is to retake 3 weeks of shooting with all of those actors? But they knew this. That's why they moved the release date almost a full year off. That's why they gave themselves more time to get this done. And to be honest, we all just want the best movie like they do. So if Robert Downey Jr. said, hey, this isn't working, it is probably for the best. Yes, it sounds like dysfunction. Now, the only part of this scoop I sort of hone in on and makes me a little bit worried is the part where he says that the drama on this set is only rivaled by the Fast and the Furious. That is not good. That is worrisome. That is a problem. That sounds like a bunch of disrespect flying around in both ways. And you know, there is something that happens when you get two people in the same room, like Vin Diesel or The Rock, or now in this case, like Robert Downey Jr. and Kevin Feige, where they both think that they're number one. And in that case, that's where the disrespect starts being taken on either side because they're not used to having someone in their orbit who doesn't just absolutely treat them with complete reverence. And so, yes, maybe a peak of worry right there. A little asterisk should be put by it. For the rest of this, yeah, I'm sure it's stressful shooting what might be one of the biggest movies of all time. What else is news? You guys let me know down in the comments, though, if you agree or disagree with any and all of this. I know a lot of this video was my take. I know this is just a scoop. You know, it is what it is, but at this rate, I'm definitely not freaking out. I don't think anybody should either. But I do trust Jeff Snyder's scoops. He's earned the respect at this point. And that comment, again, about this being something like Fast and the Furious, that's not good. You guys let me know your thoughts down below quickly. We are still giving away PlayStations and other giveaways at the channel. Super simple to be entered to win. Just make sure you hit the subscribe button, then leave a comment down below. Because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will always be announced at the end of videos, the same way we're doing here. So make sure you're safe and vigilant across the platform. And if you should ever get some spam in the comments, report it directly to YouTube. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on. And as always, if you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. Find me on all other platforms with original music under the name All Fires. And while I would sincerely appreciate you checking my music out, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.